May 25th, 2023, Parma City School District Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Present.
Mr. Kreis. Mr. Ruda.
Present.
Mrs. Schwark.
Present.
Mr. Vaughn.
Present. Dr. Smiley, can you please confirm this meeting is currently being live streamed?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Can you please monitor the live streaming throughout the meeting? If there is a problem, please speak up immediately so the technical difficulty can be addressed.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, sir. The floor is yours. We're Palmer proud.
Thank you. We have a number of representatives of excellence tonight. Thank you so much, parents, for joining us, families for joining us. We're actually going to start this evening with Miss Walden from Ridgebrook. So we actually turn the floor over to her.
While she's walking down, I just want to say thank you for coming because it's nice to see a full theater, or semi-full anyway. So thank you.
You need a microphone though.
I want to say tell me when to click. Can you go to the side, the thumbs up, and go forward?
One click.
We can do that. I'll try.
You can turn around. Clicker?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Sure. Sorry to be difficult. Hi, everyone. Hi.
Hello. I am Miss Walton. I'm the principal at Ridgebrook, and we are excited to recognize some of our students and some of the wonderful adult volunteers this evening. I'm also excited that a large portion of our staff has joined us tonight, so that's exciting. So we're going to start with our Culture of Achievement presentation for incorporating daily writing. So this year, our building as a whole, we focused on writing across the school. So the 10 students that we are recognizing tonight showed significant growth from fall to spring. So we're going to start with Josie in kindergarten. You can see on the left a sample from December and the growth on the right in March. Do they come up one at a time or at the end?
They come up one at a time.
All right, Josie, come on up. All right, our next student is Shiloh Clay, and Miss Kay, her teacher's here tonight if she wants to stand. Miss Kay, is there anything you'd like to say about Shiloh?
Yes, she's an amazing student, has come so far since the beginning of the year. Huge growth, and I'm so proud of her. Excited to see where she's going to go.
Thank you so much. Come on up, Shiloh.
So I hand it to her.
Our next student is Leah in first grade. Miss Oswald, would you like to share anything about Leah?
Leah is phenomenal. Leah has written expression down, talks a lot, has a lot of stories to tell me. So now we're putting stories into print. Is never at a loss for, the focus and attention. And I can't wait. I get choked up. Can't wait to see where she goes. She's a great student.
All right, let's give Leah a round of applause. You're doing great. All right, next we have Connor in first grade. Connor, come on up. We'll give him a round of applause. Connor, come up here, buddy. Mrs. King, is there anything you'd like to share about Connor?
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but when I go back in my career here in
Parma Schools. Way back, my first or second year teaching, Connor's auntie was one of my students. Now I have Connor in my class this year, and I have loved every moment of having him in the class. He has grown up so much, and he couldn't make me more proud. So.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, next we have Cassidy in second grade. Come on up, Cassidy. Mrs. Brzezinski, anything you'd like to share about Cassidy?
I'd just like to say that she's amazing, and I'm so blessed to have her in my class this year. I've had all of her siblings, and they've all had such a special place in my heart. So the growth she's made is amazing.
Thank you. All right, next is Emma. Emma, you want to come on up? Where's Emma? I thought I saw her. Okay, Emma may not be here, but if she comes in later, we'll have her come up, okay? Next, we have Trinity in third grade. Trinity, I know I saw you. You want to come on up? Yay. Ms. Zay, is there anything you'd like to share about Trinity?
Trinity has grown so much this year. She was in PDLA for a couple years, and then this is her first year back. And the amount of growth she made is amazing. I'm so proud of her.
Thank you. All right, next we have Mason in third grade. Come on up, Mason. Ms. Kowalski, anything you want to say?
Yes, I have enjoyed having Mason this year in third grade. He's a phenomenal worker, keeper heart student, pleases, does whatever you ask him to do. He went to Hawaii for a vacation, so we enjoyed hearing the adventures they had. And he is just a wonderful student. I will miss you.
Thank you. Next, we have Lucas in fourth grade. Ms. Manzo will get to talk twice. So, Ms. Manzo, would you like to say anything about Lucas?
No, I think the pictures speak for themselves. We'll see that growth. First of all, there were times when he was struggling with the sentences on the page. So to see him going on to write a 5-paragraph essay is so impressive. It's so awesome. And we are so proud of him.
Thank you. And our final student is Layla. Come on up, Layla. Miss Manzo, anything you want to share about Layla?
Layla started off the year already a pretty great writer, but what was awesome about her is she really did not inspire a lot of guidance as we moved on to those 5-paragraph essays. She was a great independent worker, and her essay is like a perfect model for the rest of her classmates to follow. So we're proud of Layla as well.
Thank you. Come here, Connor.
Right there, over there at the camera.
Perfect. Yep. Josie, up here. Josie, watch the board, okay?
Don't go that way.
Okay. Lucas, Layla, want to come over here?
Go that way. Right.
Mr. Vaughn, come around back. Here, why don't we get in front of the microphone, okay?
Leah, why don't you step right up, watch the court.
There you go, there you go.
Dr. Smiley, you'd like to invite that other little girl up that didn't want to come up?
Still no, that's okay.
Okay. Go.
All right, good job.
Thank you, guys. You go sit down. All right, next we want to recognize two of the adults in our building that have made a significant difference. When talking with our staff mutually voted for both of these individuals, and I'm excited and grateful for everything they do for Ridgebrook. So the first is Catherine Stanbridge. What is behind me is exactly what some of the staff said about her. A few of the things that she does, though, she takes home projects to prepare for teachers. She cuts paper, she laminates, she traces, she binds, she sets up theme days with food and decor in our faculty lounge. She dresses up, and she's willing to help anyone do anything and always brings a smile to our faith. So, Catherine, you want to come on up? We're so grateful for you. Our next person is Susan Palmer. Susan Palmer is a PTA member who is next year the president of our PTA. I don't know if you can see in the picture, it's her with her newborn baby volunteering and still running our school store. Even when I tell her to go home, she doesn't listen because she's that committed to our PBIS program at school. She is probably there just as many hours as I am during the week and is committed to the vision. So we would not be able to do our Tier 1 program without her. So Susan Palmer. Yeah, stand by the mic.
There we go. There you go. Thank you, Ridgebrook staff and Ridgebrook students and Ridgebrook parents. Great. Yeah, absolutely. Come on up.
Thank you.
Emma, hello. Our second grade student is here, Emma.
Absolutely. Good catch, good catch. Okay, now we have Valley Forge and their celebration of excellence. We welcome Miss Andrzejewski.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all here tonight. So at Valley Forge, we also have been focusing a lot on our culture of achievement this year, really trying to focus our kids on their studies and our school environment and our culture, that it is an academic environment, that the social aspects are a perk to that, and really trying to get them narrowed in for success for their future. So the folks that we identified as our high achievers at Valley Forge are the top 2 students in each grade level. These students have earned the highest GPA, cumulative GPA up through the 3rd marking period. So these students exemplify what it means to be a great student, what it means to focus on your academics, and it's kind of cool watching the little ones come up here first and seeing the work that they were doing and then knowing the type of work that our kids, these kids that are being recognized tonight, are doing at the high school level, thanks to all of their teachers down below us. So in 8th grade, we have our top 2 students. Our number 1 is Emmett Klein with a GPA of 5.0. Come on up, Emmett. And our second student in 8th grade is Dylan Joswiak. Dylan. Come on up, Dylan. We're super proud of these guys. They're our 8th graders, and even though we won't have 8th graders in our buildings anymore next year, just hang out up here because we're going to have a group picture. They have been just awesome leaders within their class. In 9th grade, we have Genevieve Steffen with a GPA of 4.4444. And we have Cameron Kubit with a GPA of 4.3636. Come on down, Cameron. Our 9th graders moving into 10th grade, we will look forward to what they will be doing and how they will be growing as leaders in their class. In 10th grade, our number 1 in 10th grade is Adam Shoup, and Adam is not able to be here because he's in Italy right now. Lucky him. But he has a GPA of 4.5714, okay? And then, so congratulations to Adam. Jaden Brickenden is our 2nd, and Jaden has a GPA of 4.5581. Congratulations, Jaden. These guys moving on to the middle of the pack in the high school and really starting to look towards their future and what that holds for them. In 10th grade, we have Olivia Nuffs with a GPA of 4.5641. Come on up, Olivia. And we have Anna Scherler, and Anna also is not here. She called us this morning, and unfortunately she is ill, so she's not able to be here, but she has a GPA of 4.5538, so give it up for Anna. We look forward to these students as our leaders in our building next year as they move on to their senior year. And then our last grade, our seniors. Our seniors finished up their final exams yesterday. They're checking out tomorrow, and they are commencing next week, Saturday. Our number 1 in our class is Tanner Green with a GPA of 4.7081. Tanner has been a huge leader. He was on our senior advisory board, and during our senior recognition, he was up there a lot on this stage, receiving a lot of awards. And if you come to commencement, you'll hear Tanner. He is one of our student speakers at commencement. And then we have our number 2 is Lena Freight with a GPA of 4.6122. Lena has also been immensely involved in our school, and I shook her hand many times also when she came up for her recognition on Senior Recognition Day. We look forward to what they are going to do, the possibilities that they have as they move on to their post-secondary education career. So a big round of applause for our highest achievers at VF. You're good. I'm just going to poke my head right in the middle there. You're fine. You're fine.
Well, we might be on that vacation.
Congratulations, everybody. All right, moving on to our parent recognition. So at the high school, there are opportunities for parents to get involved in the, as boosters. We have all different kinds of athletics where they can support those teams. We have activities where they can be of support. So these are our folks, and getting parents at the high school level to come out and help support is oftentimes very difficult. It's usually the same folks over and over again that are doing the work. So these folks, we are very, very thankful for all that they have done to help out our kids. Our first one is going to be Gary Stefan. Gary was a huge help with our theater club this year. He volunteered his evenings to help our students build our set pieces for Grease. He took the time to work with the kids and teach them how to build quality work, which is huge. He even helped design and build the car for the show, so if you were at the show, you saw that, and we are so thankful to have him as one of our parents. Thank you, Gary. And our next parent is Laura Eichenmiller. Laura, come on up. So Laura is a rock star. She has 2 children in Parma City Schools. One's at Valley Forge and one is at Greenbrier. She manages to stay active and involved in both buildings. She stepped up as a freshman parent at Valley Forge and became president of our Music Boosters. So thank you very much for that.
At the meeting.
She wasn't even at the meeting. See, that's what happens. You don't come to the meeting, you get voted president. Make that a note if you're coming to VF. But she has done a great job supporting all the students in the music department, working to get more parents involved, planning events and fundraisers, and building communication bridges between our other music booster groups, specifically at Parma Senior High, as those folks will be coming over to us next school year. Laura was also super helpful with our theater club by volunteering to sell tickets and passing out programs for all of our shows. We are lucky to have her as a leader in our parent community organization, and we thank her for all she has done and continues to do for students in Parma City Schools. Thank you, Laura. And our last 2 are a tag team, a husband and wife fantastic duo, Jody and Mark Moriarty. If you guys can come on up. So Jody and Mark have gone above and beyond for our cross-country teams, our swim team, and our track team. They volunteer for every single meet. They offer their house as a spot to feed kids before meets, and they help put on the spring craft show, completely taking over the concession stand. They are a vital part of having the Patriot the Invitational for cross-country, be successful and run smoothly. We are very thankful for your help, Jody and Mark.
Oh, boy. That was a bad angle.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Students and parents, this is a great time to excuse yourselves before we continue with our meeting. We are recognizing some amazing retiring educators tonight, so you're welcome to stay to see those presentations, but it is also a socially appropriate time to leave. Mr. Vaughn, with your permission, can we go a little bit out of order to recognize our retirees, and then we'll do the Issue 4 presentation?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Dr. Schneider is going to represent us for this purpose tonight. Retirees, we're extremely glad that you're here. It's great to be able to put a face with the name and help people to really understand more about the story that Dr. Schneider is going to share, the story of your Parma career. So thank you for joining us.
Good evening. As Dr. Smilik had said, this is an evening that we very much look forward to, the opportunity to honor and recognize some of our retirees. Our first retiree is Mr. Scott Jones. Scott Jones has worked for the Parma City Schools for 33 years. He started as a cleaner at Parma Senior High at 19 years of age. He graduated from Parma Senior High, has spent his whole career working here at this building, and now retires from Parma Senior High the last year of its operations. Bill Moss, head custodian, describes Scott as very thorough in his cleaning section. He is always willing to help out without being asked and is an important part of the team. Mr. Jones was also reported as Mr. Moss had said he was sad to see him go and appreciated all of his efforts. Having lived all his life just 2 streets over from Parma High, he recently moved to Brunswick and lives with his sister and her husband. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for your years of service to the district, and we wish you well in retirement. Next, we would like to acknowledge Marion Armstrong. Marion was hired by the Parma City Schools in 1990. A few words from her file. Marion can always be depended upon to do a superb job, no matter what task she is given. She is creative and insightful, has a clear voice and focused vision. Her counselees find her easy to talk to, understanding, and supportive. Above all, Marion has impressed me with the empathy with which she deals with young people. Hardworking, patient, willing to learn. Some words from 2006. Your dedication to the success of students has made you an asset to Parma High School. Your ideas and insights in achieving this goal have truly changed the direction and culture of the building. And later in her career, your leadership in the guidance department and dedication to its evolution have been rewarded by a highly successful professional department. Take pride in the fact that the department today is a reflection of you and your hard work. The school is a better place because of her efforts and dedication. A few words from Mr. Sattel. Marion is the heart of Parma Senior High School. I'm not sure there is any staff member who loves our students more than Marion Armstrong. Parma High is truly her home, as she has spent more time in this building than anyone. She puts in hours to make sure all students and staff are cared for appropriately. As a counselor for many years, Mrs. Armstrong has met the needs of all students, particularly focusing on improved mental health. Marion is simply incredible, going above and beyond, whether it is making suckers for every graduate or personal baby towels for every staff member who has a baby. Her warmth and care have been invaluable to Parma Senior High School. Best wishes in retirement. Our next retiree is Mr. Alan Bradney. Mr. Bradney is a longtime Seven Hills resident and graduate of Normandy. A note in his records from a nearby academy we have collaborated with. It seems Mr. Bradney has captured the respect of his students and imparted to them the importance of high standards in both workmanship and customer relations. I believe your community is fortunate to have a quality instructor like Mr. Bradney. Separately, it was noted, his commitment to his students and his program have helped to make Auto Body one of the most sought-after career preparation programs at Parma Senior High School. A few other notes. Very relaxed demeanor and a lot of patience. Energetic. An excellent role model for today's youth. In a separate record, it was noted that his work is emblematic of the stability that has characterized his life. The individual went on to recount Mr. Bradney's commitment to his wife and children. Then adding, Alan Bradney is the kind of individual who can serve as a role model for Parma City School students on many levels. As a craftsman, as a businessman, and most importantly, as a decent human being. He is the kind of teacher that his students will want to emulate. A few notes from Mr. Sattel. Alan Bradney has helped build the auto program at Parma Senior High School into a tremendous success. Our students leave his program ready for the working environment. Many of his students have gone on to body shops working on cars of all makes, including classic cars, which is Mr. Bradney's passion. Mr. Bradney has an incredible belief in the work that he does with his students. His students truly recognize that he is preparing them for a career and appreciates that precision that he works to show them. Congratulations on your retirement. Our next retiree is Dr. Carol Carrig. A few notes from Carol's file dating back to 1990 when she was hired. She was noted as the perfect candidate, enthusiastic, a very talented person, superior performance, loyal, excellent teamwork, the hardest working teacher I have seen in any of my 20 years in education. Impressive, dedicated, commendable, highly proactive. And some wonderful words from a previous principal. You are good for students and work extremely well with them. I think you are absolutely an asset to the Parma City School District, and I am proud to have had the pleasure to work so closely with you. And later in a separate document, Carol, you are a gifted educator. A few words from Mr. Keating. Carol Carrig has served the students and families of Renwood since 2012, when she came over from James E. Hanna when that building closed. Carol will be remembered for her thoughtfulness and caring attitude towards staff and students alike. Carol has earned the nickname the Energizer Bunny because she is always on the go at school. Carol is a wonderful intervention specialist who plans engaging lessons for her students and plans whole class lessons with her co-teachers. She is a true inspiration. She worked diligently to earn her doctorate degree a few years ago after much determination and hard work. Thank you, Carol, for your years of service to the students and families of the Parma City Schools. Congratulations. We are honored to acknowledge Linda Davies. Linda Davies has served special education students in the Parma City Schools since 2001. A few notes. Genuinely cares for her students. Creative lessons, excellent rapport, wonderful addition, fosters respect and caring, thorough and comprehensive, warm and caring, enthusiastic, constant positive attitude. Also, a few words from building principal Ms. Boca. Linda Davies has served students with special needs at Pleasant Valley for the last 6 years. She taught at Renwood before coming to PV. Linda has been a team player, and all have enjoyed collaborating and co-teaching with her to serve students. She has made a difference in the lives of many students and has helped with a large part of their growth. She will be missed by the Pleasant Valley team. Congratulations on your retirement. Our next retiree is Eileen Malloy. Ms. Malloy was hired in 1981, and in her file I found something I had not come across previously. A 3-page handwritten letter from Ms. Malloy to the superintendent at the time requesting an interview. In the letter, she articulated her passion for working in this district and with students with special needs. A few words from her file. Consummate professional, held in high esteem, dependable, attention to detail, dedicated to her effectiveness and student success, enthusiastic. You seem to be able to say just the right thing when students misbehave or become off task. Caring. Supports and encourages students with disabilities daily while connecting with them on a professional and personal level. And a few words from Mr. Sattel. Eileen Malloy has been an asset in the Parma City School District for over 40 years. Mrs. Malloy has placed her caring touch on students with special needs. Mrs. Malloy's care and concern for the well-being of her students has been incredible. Over recent years, Mrs. Malloy has also dedicated much of her time to building the PBIS program at Parma Senior High School. She has worked to give her own students real-world experience, as her special ed students have worked to make the PBIS store a success. Her warm presence and contributions to Parma students will be missed. Congratulations. Our next retiree is Dina McSweeney. Is she here? Oh, I thought I saw her. That's unfortunate. Oh, okay. Next individual we would like to recognize is Janet Metzger. Janet Metzger was hired in 1992 and has taught in several different areas and environments. A few words from her records. Reliable, calm, hardworking, motivates, excellent organization and communication, wholehearted cooperation and support, great teaching skill. And a few words from Mrs. Andrzejewski. Janet Metzger came to Valley Forge to teach 8th grade math. She has a passion for teaching math and ensuring that individual students get the attention and support that they need when they are struggling. Janet has a true caring for her students and their learning. Last year, while she was out after having her knee replaced, she continued to write lesson plans and grade papers. She worked hard to try and ensure that her students still received the instruction and that learning is needed. She will be missed, but will always be a member of our Valley Forge family. We wish her the best in retirement. Our next retiree is Luba Moisenko. A few words from her records. Strong knowledge of individual student abilities, dynamic, energetic, patient, an asset. Created a fantastic learning environment. genuine caring, respect, and rapport. And a wonderful statement, because of Ms. Moisenko, students perceived math as fun. A few words from building principal again, Ms. Andrzejewski. Luba Moisenko has been a part of our Valley Forge family for many years. She began her work with our students as an English as a second language assistant while she was going to school to obtain her teaching license. Luba was then hired to teach math and took on that responsibility with great passion. When working with students, Luba has always acted with a great amount of patience and genuine caring for each and every student in her class. Her soft-spoken voice sets and maintains high expectations for her students. She took her experience working as an ESL assistant and expanded upon it as she taught our English learners geometry. Her compassionate manner came through not only with her students, but with her younger colleagues as well. Luba is extremely respected by her colleagues, and we're going to miss her dearly. We wish her the best in retirement. Congratulations. Mary Stewart is our next retiree. If you'd come up, please. Mary Stewart was hired into the district in 1998. A few words from her file. Competent, caring, child-centered, enthusiastic, outstanding, terrific sense of humor, wonderful rapport, tenacious attitude, and calm humor. In a word, outstanding. A few more recent words from Wrenwood Principal, Mr. Keating. Mary Stewart has served the students and families of Wrenwood since 2012 when she came over from John Glenn. Mary will be remembered for her strong work ethic and quick wit. You can count on Mary to add humor to any situation. She will always be remembered for her dedication and perseverance to her students and their learning. When the going gets tough, Mary gets going to problem solve any situation presented to her and her team. Thank you, Mary, for all that you have done to enrich the lives of the students of the Parma City Schools. Congratulations. Mr. Swinger, if you would come forward, please. Mr. Swinger was hired in 1990. His record of interview is dated August 1st, 1990, and reads as follows. This young man would bring the qualities to the profession that are drastically needed. He is young, extremely attractive, glowing with good health, and has a charming personality. His college record is exemplary. Both of us highly recommend him for this position. A few other comments from his file. Excellent rapport, sincere interest, consistently fair, interesting and informative, relates exceptionally well with peers, commendable, industrious, very good sense of leadership. A few words from Parma Senior High Principal Mr. Sattel. There simply will not be many teachers like Pat Swingers moving forward. Mr. Swinger has been that teacher at Parma High for his entire career. His personality and natural ability to draw students in just by telling a story will be impossible to replace. Mr. Swinger was not only a phenomenal teacher in the social studies department, but he also coached wrestling and football for many years, impacting students in ways beyond the classroom. He was a role model to many students. Mr. Swinger's classes were always at the top of student popularity. And my own reflections, since the time I left the classroom at Parma Senior High School, Mr. Swinger is one of the teachers that former students ask about the most. Is Mr. Swinger still there? It's a question I've heard many, many times. And each time, I felt like it was asked with a sense of hope. A hope that new classrooms of students would be able to experience and enjoy Mr. Swinger. I believe the reason for this is that Mr. Swinger brings something special to the classroom that connects him with the students. He brings to the classroom a sense of humanity, which allows students to feel that he is a partner with them in their high school experience. Congratulations, Mr. Swinger.
Oh, wait.
Here, I'll put it the other way.
Dr. Schneider. Dr. Schneider.
She's not here though, right? Yeah. Good to see you. I think you can just do it now.
I was asked also if I could read the comments about Dina McSweeney, even though she was not able to be here this evening, with the hopes that perhaps she would watch the video later. I know that there were a number of people who were certainly excited to be able to share some nice words about Miss McSweeney. A few words from her file. Exceptional teaching abilities, respected, works tirelessly, dynamic. Dina's teaching style is a splendid mix of calm demeanor coupled with a dramatic flair. Intelligent, articulate, devoted, creative. I love your high energy and creative teaching style. You are a master of lesson planning and execution. Outstanding role model. Mrs. McSweeney is a superb teacher. You have a genuine talent for bringing out the best in a class. Thank you for your excellent teaching, a splendid lesson, and letting me be a part of it. I continue to applaud your work. From a 2009 record, it was noted, you are the ultimate professional, always seeking to learn and improve instruction that results in student achievement. You bring your knowledge of lead mentor teacher not only to the people you mentor, but also to your classroom and colleagues. Every day you bring enthusiasm for teaching and learning, which you emulate and in turn ignites your students to achieve. And a few words from Mrs. Boca. Dina McSweeney is the epitome of the educator we all strive to be. She is thoughtful, smart, kind, and a lifelong learner. She has been a second grade teacher for the last 4 years at Pleasant Valley Elementary. She knows each of her students well and develops relationships with them and their families. She makes this look easy because it appears to come naturally to her. She has been assigned many students that are English learners and has taught them to speak, read, and write English. This has been a unique population of students that she has been very devoted to and has advocated for. Dina is highly regarded by all and has served on our building leadership team for several years. She has helped develop, implement, and monitor our action steps. She always brought thoughtful insights, analysis, and future solutions or recommendations. She has been a team player, and individual colleagues go to her for advice. She always made time for any staff member in need. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Dr. Schneider, for writing such nice comments for our retirees. Retirees, thank you so much for coming. We're very grateful that you took the time to celebrate. More importantly, we're very grateful for the careers and all of the time and effort you dedicated for our students. So now is a socially appropriate time to leave. We do have a business meeting, but we welcome your departure at this time if you have other items to attend to this evening. Thank you again for coming. And let's give one last round of applause for our retirees. We know that issue 4 now seems like it was a year and a half ago, but believe it or not, it was only about 3.5 weeks ago. So we wanted, as has been our routine, after an issue, we wanted to come together and take a look at some data that led to the defeat, and then also review for you some comments that our general public made. So this was our breakdown here. You see at the bottom the actual total, 53.53% no, 46.47% yes. So that we lost a little bit of ground from the fall when we were right at 52 to 48. Parma was a loss at 52 to 48. A little bit of a slip in Parma. We were at 51 point something in the fall. Parma Heights was the only municipality in which we passed, 52% to 48%. That was a gain from Parma Heights from the fall. And then in Seven Hills, 64 to 36, that was a loss as well. We had been at 61 to 39. So you see how our cities break down there. We tried a little bit of a different approach in terms of how we would dedicate our campaign dollars, knowing that we had fewer campaign dollars than in the past when we really ran an all-in campaign in the fall. We really tried to focus on 25 different precincts that we thought we could turn out positive voters in. And for the most part, that was a successful strategy, just not successful enough. Of the 25 precincts, we won 15 of those. We lost 9. We tied 1. The issue for us is that the 25 precincts ended up only being 33% of the total of votes. So our strategy of really trying to and we were aggressive. I mean, those folks got 5 mailings, 2 knocks. That was an aggressive strategy, and it's certainly hard to replicate that, given diminishing resources in terms of campaign, but also just in terms of the sheer labor that it requires to knock on doors. So again, that's a strategy that I think we would need to continue to reflect upon, because ultimately 4,794 total votes from those 25 was not the goal. We needed to get more folks out from the precincts in which we thought we could be successful. We surveyed, as we always have. Anytime we've had an issue, we put a general survey out. I know I think this bears repeating. Folks have said, do a scientific poll. You really can't. No one anymore will pay a public entity to use public funds for a poll related to a political issue, and ultimately issue 4 was. So what you see here is our best attempt to get as many folks to participate in feedback as possible. So we had 302 responses. The bulk of it were parents. You see parents of former students would be the second plurality. Have never had children in the district was 18.2%, and have young children that will one day attend Parma schools was the smallest. 73% of our folks voted yes, so you're already kind of diminishing the number of folks that you're hearing from who voted no. But of that, for the most part, statistically, that's going to be a break even, really. Those are all within the margin of error, well within a margin of error. But 9.7% was the highest. I voted no because I do not like the one high school plan. 8.7 voted no because of personal financial factors. That could have been inflation, they're on a fixed income, they don't like how much they pay in taxes already. And then I voted no because I don't trust the school district's ability to correctly manage finances. Continues to be an issue for us. At this point, in all honesty, I'm not sure that that's the real motivation that people have, or that's just what they want to say because they didn't want to pay for it. I think we've done yeoman's work to get to where we are financially, and I think we really have tried to be very public about the audits that we've gone through and how it's a private audit now, and we had a perfect audit in 2020, so it's frustrating to continue to see that a certain segment of the population still doesn't trust us. So the comments to the Board of Education, we'll post this, but we'll also email it to you, and you can click on the link if you want to see all the comments. I really just took the top 10, and actually it ended up being 11 because we had a tie at the bottom. But what I tried to do was read through all the comments, and if you would like to depress yourselves, that's a phenomenal activity to go through. I would make sure you might have, sort of somebody around that can watch you to make sure, do a wellness check, because it's pretty depressing to read. Please continue to work toward new schools, and thank you for trying. That was by far the plurality, and that's obviously from our parents, telling us we're grateful for the work that you're doing for our students. We really want you to continue. A lot of frustration with other residents. That was the second most common piece. Just people that they're angry, and the anger comes through in their comments. They're angry that their neighbors don't stand up and support this. You do see still 17 folks saying I don't trust the board or the district to manage money. And again, this is a categorized comment, so it might not be word for word, but essentially that was the gist of their message. Anti-one high school sentiment at 16. State and the district need to change funding options, which again is really beyond our control. We had that conversation tonight about income tax. We heard that really no urban areas use an income tax to fund. The only school district income taxes really are in rural areas, given what you would tend to see, which would be farmers, lower incomes, but higher, property volumes that they have. Develop a new master plan, came in at 10, so again, go ahead, rethink it. We don't like the one high school, or it could have also been, you need to start with the elementaries. I mean, that was also included in that. I did see more specific to me, the Fire Charlie type of comment. A lot, not a lot, but of that 8, several mentioned bankrupt Euclid, and that's frustrating because that's just inaccurate. Euclid actually has a 5-year forecast that's balanced all the way through 2027, so that's, again, folks just sort of repeating what maybe they've heard or seen from some unverified resource. Lack of knowledge of the plan, misinformation and confusion. Folks didn't understand what this really meant, etc. It was a poor campaign, saying we didn't know anything about it. Please stop asking and give up came through 4 times. And then we are Catholic school parents that will not pay more for public schools. So those are our top 10 in terms of pluralities. And again, we'll email this to you, and you can click and read through all of them if you would like. This leads to this, and Pam, are you able to click on levy history? Yep. That's our levy history, and if you can scroll down just a little bit. This is since the year 2000, and that's actually probably a perfect vantage point. Just scroll up just a bit so you can get them all on there. Perfect. So from the year 2000, we've been on the ballot 21 times. We've passed 3. One of those, the PI, was very small in 2000. I think it's maybe a 1.5 continuing and permanent improvement levy. 2005 was an operating. 2011 was an operating. Passed, very narrowly. And so what you see here is just a continued frustration of our inability to connect with residents, or residents' inabilities to see the value of public education. What you see is that we've tried a lot of different things, and I said this in some comments to the board at one point. You can change the superintendent, you can change the Board of Education, you can change the campaign technique, you can change, is it a bond issue, is it operating, what is the ask for new money? And all of those variables have changed significantly from the year 2000 to the year 2021, and yet you continue to see the same result. So, and typically it's right in that 52 to 48 or 54 to 46 margin, and that's been true since we've been together as well. So I think it bears showing, because it's easy to personalize this, and it's easy to say, well, man, if we would have just used another billboard, or if we would have sent one more mailing. But this is a long history that we continue to try to chip away at, and it's one that we have to chip away at, and it's one that we have to continue to really fight for our students and ask for what we need, and we should never shy away from that. But I think, in any one given instance, you have to have the full context of, it's a tough place to get folks to open their wallets and commit to funding public education at a higher level. Can you go back to the slide then? And for the board's sake, I wanted to close with this, because when I think back to the 8 or 10 weeks, before the election, I've really fallen in love with these comments here. And this is from a speech from Theodore Roosevelt. You may be familiar with it. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows that in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I really think that this summarizes our efforts. We are in a battle. It is a battle for the future of public education, specifically in urban cores and the inner ring suburbs that surround our urban cores. And when I think back to our campaign, Jack isn't here right now, but I think back to Jack in Parma Heights, coming in, and we know Jack's had some health issues, and coming in, and honestly, when I looked at Jack, I thought, Jack, if you need to go, it's okay. And here was Jack, coming off of some treatments for his illnesses, given the most impassioned speech to a really packed town hall in Parma Heights, and talking about how it's the right thing and how he has a property value that is soaring as well, but he's going to vote yes because it's the right thing for the community and for our kids. He was a man in the arena. I think about Cindy Bratz being everywhere she can possibly be to work on behalf of our school, to work on behalf of our kids, and to plug Issue 4, and to have those conversations and risk that potential alienation or that potentially negative look. Cindy is always a person in the arena. Always. I think of Steve Vaughn, who set up all kinds of meetings with community leaders to say, we need you. We need you to be as active as possible. And sometimes those community leaders step up, and sometimes they give a little bit, and we wish they gave more, but at least they gave something, and they did so because they trust Steve Vaughn, and they trust his role. And Steve doesn't need to be here. He doesn't need to be doing this. He's doing it because he's in the arena. He's fighting for our kids. And Angela Schwark, who will jump into a Facebook argument till 3 in the morning because she swears by this, and I agree with her, she may not win that argument, but at least she's putting our story out there so that when others who couldn't care less about who Angela Schwark is or who the board is, when they pick up that Facebook page, at least they'll see another side of the story. Angela's in the arena. I think of Mark Ruda at the Republican Club. His friends, folks that are his base that got him here. Mark is hopping angry, making passionate arguments to his friends about why we need this. Mark was in the arena. We need more people in the arena. We will have further conversations about whether it's a bond issue or an operating or continued or a renewal tied into 2. And those conversations will come. But my friends, we need more people fighting like these people fight. It isn't going to happen in Columbus. Columbus is not going to help Parma. Columbus might help people who want to go to Holy Name or Padua at $7,500 on a public dime, but they're not helping the Parma Public Schools. We are in a battle, and we need more people in the arena. But in March, April, and May, I was proud to stand with you. I was proud to know that we are the doer of the deeds, and we will continue to err on the side of what we need for our kids. Any questions?
Jeez, oh man.
No, thank you for just being.
I didn't. We didn't. That wasn't the intent.
Thank you for just being consistently beat up all the time and still going for what you know is for the students. And that's, I think, why all of us are up here. It's for these kids, whether, I'll say it again, everybody that lives and votes is a part of this community, whether you have kids in the community, whether you had kids in the community, whether you send your kids to private school, you're still part of this community, and the school district is a big part of the community. So thank you for putting yourself out there, because that's rough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's, man, I tell you, you're the hardest working man I know. You put yourself out there. You're everywhere. It astounds me how you juggle your family and still manage to be in all these places in Parma. Whether it's the Ribbon Rock or if it's a thing at Pleasant Valley or Green Valley or Ridgebrook or wherever, you're all over the place, and that's astounding. And I am grateful that you do that.
Thank you.
And I'm grateful for this report. And I don't know if it's time for me to say that. I think I'll wait a few minutes for my comments on that. But that's excellent. But that shows, I mean, how apathetic was our communities. really, I mean, they really didn't come out to vote, and that's kind of a scary thing. I don't know if it's because it was May or we had ballot fatigue or what, but it was interesting. It was a great report to see, and I would love to sit there and rebut half of those things, but we'd be here for like 5 hours. But the one thing, I will rebut one thing. They were saying, like, you need a new board, need a new board. Well, 5 years ago when we started this plan, I'm what's left of that board. So this board has turned over quite a bit since then. So there's, that's hogwash as far as I'm concerned. Actually, I will make this comment too. So recently I was with a friend who I hadn't seen in a while, and he said, Steve, he goes, why do you do this? Why are you on the school board? Why? He goes, you don't need those headaches. And I said, well, it's not so much like headaches. It's really, and not to use this for our kids, but I'll tell you what I said, I replied to him, it's because our kids deserve the best opportunity to get the best education possible. And in that fact, it really is a new building. I mean, it would definitely help. You can't put 21st century technology in a building that was built 58 years ago. It just doesn't happen. Right? And our ATV guy, he's like, no, you can't. And I had my son worked here for a while in IT, and he said he started drilling holes in the wall, and the walls would fall off. And he said they were almost afraid to drill, but that actually happened, and that's the truth. So that was the thing. So I am disheartened by the results of the bond issue. I'm very disheartened. So that's all I got to say. I could go on forever, but I was going to thank you for being in the arena with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
It's true. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, you got something or no?
Yeah.
No?
Guess I'll always add something. I don't know. I don't think, we're so close to this and we're so involved in it, and it's real hard for us to understand why we have not been able to convince folks how important this is and how critical it is for education in our communities. And it's real disappointing to not get to that threshold. And I understand there are all kinds of competing things for folks to think about, but public education is a responsibility for everyone, no matter what their situation is. And it's a shame that with all the efforts that have been made to help people learn about the circumstances of a possible new building or the consolidation or whatever circumstances come up regarding public education in our communities, that so few people have taken the advantage of the opportunity to come and learn about it. And if you folks had a clue, and I'm sure we don't even have a clue, but just knowing what's come forward from the administration in terms of the amount of work that's gone in to preparing all these things, making all these recommendations, answering our questions, and that amount of time and effort is overwhelming to me. Dr. Smilik, thank you for your leadership on it. Thank you for everything that you've done. You and your team, because I know you have folks that have helped as well. But it's stunning the amount of times we have had block parties, we've had work sessions or opportunities for people to come and you can hear an echo in the room, or you can stand there and talk to one resident after it's been advertised and, invited people to come, and there just has not been nearly enough participation and understanding of the need. And I still think that people, if they really took the time to understand, they would have a much more positive outlook for the schools and have a much better understanding of of the need. So I thank you. I thank all the administration for the work that they've put into this. And I know this is the happy part that I always feel good about. I know that the teachers get up the next morning and they go in the classroom and they do the same hard work that they do every other day to take care of our kids in lots of ways. Certainly educate them, but man, support them in all sorts of different ways. And that will happen in old buildings or new buildings. And that's a great feeling, so I'm happy for that.
I do want to mention that too. What is, and I've only been in 2 districts, but what always strikes me whenever I see any of the chatter or whenever I read any of the comments, it's never about the quality of education and the effort of the teachers. Never do we read that. It's always, up above, higher level stuff, administration, board, mismanagement of funds, not liking the plan. And our teachers are revered by our community. I really feel that. And I think I see that every day. I just wanted to echo your comments.
If I can actually just express as not, aside from a board member, because that's fleeting, right? Like this could, I could be done in December 31st. But as a parent in this district and a citizen of this district, what's kind of terrifying to me is, and I'm really fearful of what is to be in this community, in all 3 cities. Because I was raised that your public school system is kind of the heart of the community. And there are a lot of factors that are negatively affected by a district that's not supported by its community. And while we have a lot of support, as you can see historically, sometimes that support doesn't win. And it's really scary for me just to think if we keep going down this road of bashing the school district instead of looking at all the just amazing, beautiful things that are going on in every single one of these schools. Tomorrow I finish up my circuit of touring every single individual school, and I wish people really knew what was going on, what the teachers are doing, what the aides are doing, what the staff in general are doing for these kids, during hours, off hours, the types of programs that we provide, for private schools because we're mandated to. I really wish that people didn't look at the state report card that is whatever, it's very skewed, and you got to kind of understand it to understand what's going on there. But they look at that number and not what is actually going on in this school district, and that's a big shame. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Anything else, Dr. Smiley?
No.
Very good. Thank you so much for everything. So that brings us to communications, Mrs. Bratz.
Well, it's a very busy time of the year, obviously. The end of the school year has lots of exciting things going on, celebrations in every one of our buildings for our kids, but in our 3 buildings that will be closing this year for education, there's been kind of a lot of extra historical attention given, and a few tears shed, to be sure, but some extra things to send everybody on their way to their new places next year, where they'll do fine, I'm certain. But one of the things here at Parma High School last week was a field day kind of thing with different blow-ups and games and activities and food trucks and all kinds of goodies for the kids, and boy, were they having a great time and enjoyed that, and it was a very fun celebration. But there are fun things going on in each of our buildings this week and then also next week, so I know the board's going to be out at lots of those different things and has been at some already. So that's the main thing. Just, draw attention to that. If you have an opportunity to wish kids a healthy, safe, fun summer, yay, and teachers and staff as well. That's it, yeah.
Do we have a PTA council report today? I think so. Charlie has it? Okay.
Do I?
Do you want to read that now, or do you wait for
All right.
Sean?
Sorry. Oh, thank you. Thought I missed an email, which would have been upsetting to me. Good evening. It's so hard to believe that this school year is quickly coming to a close. Our units are working hard to finish up the school year and start transitioning to their new boards. We are excited to work with them over the summer to prepare for next school year. On May 3rd, Council held the Scholarship Awards ceremony and reception. This new event was well attended and enjoyed. We appreciated the support of all of our sponsors and PTA volunteers. On May 10th, we held our final council meeting of the year. We celebrated with recognition of our presidents and some special awards, including the announcement of the Shine On Award-winning unit, Pleasant Valley Elementary PTA. Following the meeting, our incoming and outgoing presidents enjoyed lunch with their principals to get a jump start on planning for the upcoming school year. Parma Council will be holding our annual Incoming Officers Workshop on Wednesday, May 31st at Parma Heights in the cafeteria, some cafeteria in Parma Heights, apparently, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. All are welcome to attend. This training is meant to help all of our units get a jump start in the right direction for the upcoming school year.
It's this one. That's for when, next Wednesday?
Yes.
Cafeteria here.
That's here.
Parma High School, I'm sorry. I read it as Parma Heights. Thank you. As we bring this year to an end, our units are finishing up installing officers and transitioning to their new boards. We look forward to working with them over the summer and preparing for next year. This summer, 12 delegates from Parma will attend the virtual National PTA Convention. We look forward to bringing back lots of useful information and resources for our units. We would like to thank everyone for their support, participation, and excitement this year as we shined on together. Council is looking forward to rocking and rolling with the changes next school year brings. Submitted by Melissa Wolf, President, Parma Council of PTAs.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Mr. Treasurer, Sean, do you have anything to?
I do not have anything.
Okay. All right, so it moves on. We'll move on to public participation. For after, for not right now, though. Okay. All right, so this brings us to amendments. We do have two amendments. So I move to adopt. Wait a minute, let me do this here. There are some clerical errors on resolutions 2023-05-235 and resolution 2023-05-241. There are some clerical errors. So I move to adopt resolution 2023-05-227, the adoption of the amendments.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution 2023-05-227. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Sorry. Resolution 2023-05-227 has been approved. And I'm going to cut back a second because I had this written down to mention during communications. The fifth grade STEM at PV set up the planets at Greenbrier, sorry, set up at James Day Park the planets, and the distances coordinate size-wise. But I went there the other day with them. They have a QR code on there. You take a picture with your phone, and it brings up for each planet the kids talked about. They actually put together little movies and little clips describing what was going on at that particular thing, whether it was asteroid belt, the rocky planets, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or and Earth, and the gaseous planets. But they talked about each one of those, but they had little things they had to coordinate and do coding to make it work. So if you get a chance to go up to James Day Park and do it, you take your phone, take a picture of it. The nerd in me still has the app on my phone, and I went up there another day and went through the whole thing again because it's pretty good. So just wanted to mention that, and it is an outstanding piece of work by those fifth graders. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Meant to do that during the other part. So that brings us to approve our record of proceedings. So I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-228, approval of the written record of proceedings from May 11, 2023, regular and special Board of Education meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-228. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-05-228 has been approved. This brings us to curriculum, Mrs. Bratz.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn.
Most welcome.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2023-05229, approval of overnight, out-of-state, out-of-country field trip.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-229. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2023-05-229 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05230, approval of a foreign exchange student to attend Normandy High School for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-230. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-230 has been approved.
Unless another board member has anything to discuss, that will conclude curriculum for this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Bratz. Appreciate that. This brings us to business. Mr. Ruda.
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-231, authorizing the execution and delivery of the Master Electric Energy Sales Agreement between the district and Power for Schools endorsed electric supplier, Engay Resources, LLC.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-231. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2023-05-231 has been approved.
Unless a board member has anything else to discuss, this will conclude business.
Thank you, Mr. Ruda. Brings back the finance to you, sir.
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-232, approval of agreement with SC Strategic Solutions for long-term record storage.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-232. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-232 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-233, approval of supplemental appropriations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-223. No, 233, sorry. Bifocals. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-233 has been approved.
Okay, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-234, approval of then and now certificates over $3,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-234. Any questions or comments from the board?
I actually have one.
Go ahead.
The Suburban. Why wasn't that in I thought we did that.
Suburban, is that the transportation?
We allocated those funds a little bit after the PO came through.
Okay.
Okay.
Or invoice, I should say, came through.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-234 has been approved.
Okay, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-235, authorizing to accept activity purpose statement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-235. Any questions or comments from the board? Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2023-05-235 has been approved.
Okay, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-236, acceptance of contributions and donations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-236. Any questions or comments from the board? But of course, I want to thank everybody for donating. Always remembering Parma City Schools and your generosity. It's appreciated very much. Thank you. Anybody else?
That was very generous, Mr. Zini.
Mr. Zini, yes. That was very. Okay. Roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-236 has been approved.
Okay, unless a board member has anything else to discuss, this will conclude finance.
Thank you, Mr. Ruda. Legislation, Mrs. Bratz.
Yes, just briefly, the House has, the State House has completed their budget and sent that off to the Senate, and there has been some positive things coming out of the House for education. However, rumor has it, for what that's worth, the Senate isn't smiling as nicely on education as the House may have. So we're not going to know for a little while yet, when they complete that process in June, exactly how things turn out. But we're hopeful that there may be some positive things for education coming out of the next biennial budget.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Brings us to Human Resources, Mrs. Schwark.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-237, approval of the following certificated exhibits: confirmation of certificated replacements, confirmation of stipend amounts, and acceptance of certificated resignations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-237. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2023-05-237 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-238, acceptance of certificated retirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-238. Any questions or comments from the board? That's, she wasn't here today, huh? Anybody else? No. DM explained it. Very nice lady. Roll call, Ms. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2023-05-238 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-239, confirmation of certificated administrative appointments / replacements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-239. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-239 has been approved.
Move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-240, creation of middle school STEM encore teacher position and adoption of job description.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-240. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, we did this as we did a presentation, I would say, probably mid-February when we wrapped up the middle school schedule recommendation and talked about how what used to be called the wheel was now really going to be sort of a selection of potential electives that students could enroll into, and the STEM electives they'll actually rotate through. If you remember, these were classes like medical detectives was one example, so we needed to make sure that we had a specific teaching description allocated to that role.
Excellent, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-240 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-241, revision of the Elementary Safety Patrol Advisor job description and adoption of revised job description.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-241. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-241 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-242, suspension of limited and/or continuing contracts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-242. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-242 has been approved.
Move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-243, approval of the following classified exhibits: confirmation of classified appointments / replacements, confirmation of change of classified assignments, confirmation of classified resignations, approval of classified stipend, and approval of classified non-compensated leaves of absence.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-243. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-243 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-244, acceptance of classified retirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-244. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-244 has been approved.
Unless anyone else has anything to discuss, that concludes Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Schwark. This is right back at you.
All right.
Policies, please.
Thank you again. I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-245, approval of revised policies. Policy 4362.01, threatening behavior toward staff members. Policy 5710, student complaints / grievance process. Policy 5730, equal access for non-district sponsored student clubs and activities. Policy 5850, school social events. Policy 8320, personnel files. Policy 8420.02, bioterrorism. And Policy 8600, transportation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-245. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-245 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-246, approval of policy deletion, which is Policy 5820, student government.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-246. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2023-05-246 has been approved. Short.
Oh, I just apologize. Unless another board member has anything else to discuss, this concludes policies. I did so good until
You're
then.
doing so good. You're doing so good. Thank you. Any information requested by board members? Nothing? So at this point, we open the meeting to public to address the board with comments and/or concerns. Do we have any such requests? We have the one that's sitting here with me. Request to be heard forms are to be completed and, completed and submitted in person to the administrative secretary prior to the start of the meeting. All statements shall be directed to the board president. As per policy 0169.1, comments that are repetitive, obscene, disparaging, abusive, irrelevant, and/or comments that constitute a threat will not be tolerated, and the speaker will be asked to stop speaking and/or to leave the meeting. Please know that various board policies exist which set forth processes and procedures to be used in investigating and addressing personal issues and cannot be addressed in public. As per board policies, we may not be able to respond directly or address some of the issues at this time. If information is not readily available, we will respond in our next regular meeting. 3 minutes has been allotted per speaker. Please remember to state your name and address for the record. And would Patricia Nemeth please come to the microphone?
Good evening. I'm Patricia Nemeth, 2707 Lincoln Avenue, Parma, Ohio, 44134. And I do have several questions, and these come from people that I've spoken to, and I am glad to present them to you tonight. I will just read what I have to say. I have several questions. Will you please try to answer them? Who made the architectural plans and/or model for the new school that you proposed, and where are they displayed for public viewing? Now, I know you may not be able to answer these tonight. I understand.
I think we can answer that, right?
Yeah, we can answer that.
I'm pretty sure we can answer that. Do you want us to do it now, or do you want to do each one? Why don't we do each one? Can we answer each question as you go? Would that be okay?
Under 3 minutes. Let her read all your questions, and then we can go back.
Well, the minutes stop.
Oh, okay.
She stops
when we speak, right?
The answer is GPD, who's the architectural consultant that we've worked with since 2018. GPD Group, GPD Game, Product, Dog, GPD. You like, I couldn't think, I'm product. So they are the consultants that we've worked with since 2018. They were displayed in as many places as could take them. We had small posters, we had large posters. They were certainly on the internet quite a bit. So.
I didn't see any of them, but I'm asking that question. Oh, thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
GBD, okay.
GP, product.
GDP, okay. GDP, I'll get it in my head. What company firm evaluated the structural soundness of our schools, and where can I find their reports?
The report is on the, I'm sorry, Mr. Bond.
That's okay. I was going to say, I can answer the first part was OFCC. It's part of the state OFCC. And the reports can be found where, Dr. Smiley?
The reports are on our website. They continue to be. In fact, this seems like a script of questions that I actually answered in frequently asked questions. And maybe you have some more, but it seems very similar.
I don't have answers to these, so I'm trying to get answers.
Yeah, so a number of these.
There were evidently a lot of discussion about this, and I'm bringing it to you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So a lot of people evidently didn't know.
It was on the website.
Been out there for like
and frequently asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Frequently asked questions, and it's still there, all of the assessment reports.
Okay.
Who and
make a quick remark
based on what was it decided to close Parma Senior High instead of Normandy High, which is in a very bad location of the city for a high school?
Okay, hold on just a second. We'll answer that. But she had a comment about the previous
Go
question.
ahead.
I just wanted to make a remark about the question that you had about who evaluated the schools. This happened, the state of Ohio came in and evaluated all of our buildings, and everyone, except at that time, Normandy High School was 1 percentage point below the threshold that the state requires in order to recommend replacement as being more
Cost
efficient than repair. So, and since that time, Normandy has met that threshold. So every single one of our buildings was evaluated by an outside source. That is not our opinion.
Okay.
We may agree with that, but it was not done by us. It was done by the state. And I think that's a really important thing for folks to understand, because it's not just us thinking that, oh, we have older buildings, we want new ones.
Right.
Okay,
So-
and Normandy was the one that was below par? Am I right about that?
Only
Not anymore,
building.
all of them are now.
Out of
All of them
all
are
of
above
the
the threshold.
buildings, Normandy was 1% below.
at
They
that
were at
time.
65, you need to be at 66. They have since met that threshold.
Okay, these
So-
are questions that I like to hear, answered. Sure. Okay.
So the next question was why Normandy, or why Parma Senior High? So we went through
We got it.
We went through a series of meetings last year. We tried to recruit as many residents as we possibly could. We called it our Building Our Future Committee, and we started with about 65 residents. By the end, it went to about 45 residents. We went through a number of different options. We presented quite a bit of data to the board in terms of how many students could fit where, how much of a renovation, various configurations would cost to be able to make that work, and that was the demolition of Parma Senior High, along with the closure of Renwood and the repurposing of Parma Park, were the recommended plan, and we okayed that plan or passed that plan 4-1 last June, and that followed several work sessions and multiple Build Our Future committee meetings.
By that committee of 45 people?
That's correct.
And then the board voted on that?
That's correct.
Okay.
Well, we had a work session that described that whole process, and we discussed it as a board, and then we voted on it, and it was a 4-1 vote.
All those work sessions, are still on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. So if anybody, they can go on YouTube and look at all of the past meetings that we've ever had. You can watch them again.
Okay.
So.
Well, you're going to hear something in a minute, so, okay. Was a remodeling or revamping of Parma Senior High considered as an option, and if so, what stopped that thought?
Yeah, again, we looked at many different options, many different configurations, and again, this started really in March of last year, March of '22. What stopped it is at some point you have to make a conclusion in terms of what you want to do. At the time, we had looked at Parma High only being able to be a 10 through 12 because while people think that it can fit 3,000 students, it's not accurate at all. Since its heyday of 3,000 students, a couple different things have changed. First of all, a significant section of the building is now a central office, so that would be a costly reconfiguration of what would need to become classrooms again. Secondly, when people think back to, well, it had 3,000 kids in 1962, there was one classroom allocated for students with disabilities in 1962. Now, our special education population is a significant portion of our building in terms of enrollment. It's also a significant portion of resources in terms of what we have to allocate to the classrooms. Those classrooms typically have 10 to 12 students at the most in them. So that was, those were large considerations. The third piece, and I want to make sure I emphasize this, Parma Senior High was actually, when we looked at OFCC percentages of the three high schools in terms of what would cost the most to renovate, it was Parma Senior High. Parma Senior High had a rating well above both Normandy and Valley Forge.
It's like 78%.
Yeah, in terms of how much it would cost to renovate versus rebuild.
Okay.
So you understand that like the 78%, this threshold that we're talking about, the 66%, is like, so 78%, if the building comes up to like 78% was the threshold, that means it would take 78% of what it would cost to build a new building to revamp the building. So, you understand?
So you're paying almost the same amount as you would to just build a new building and without state money.
That was my next thought.
Because to renovate, there is no money.
There's no money from the state.
There's no money.
So we had $72 million
So
on
to build new
on the table.
is what would have given us, because we would have gotten the state money plus the bond.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the disheartening thing.
Well, I'm glad that these are all coming out, because these are questions.
These have been out. These have been out for months and months.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. I'm sorry.
Last year. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's a teacher in me coming out. I guess so.
Same.
Okay. I am very curious about this because at no time did I see this information posted and for general knowledge anywhere. Please indulge me, as I am not a social media person. Now, I think that point had to be made. I don't get on social media much.
Okay.
I don't look at the school board. There used to be a channel I watched.
PAC TV.
Well, I don't see much on there now. But the deal is, I'm not a social media person. And I know a lot of seniors who are not.
Okay. Let me answer that last little bit for you, and then you'll be done for
So I
tonight.
thank you again.
Yeah, no problem. But let me help you. I know for a fact our meetings are on PAC TV. My guy Gary back there is like waving his arms frantically, saying, "Yeah, but they're on." So they're still on TV. So if I can't help that you missed them, perhaps he can give you a schedule. Also, this information has been out in print. It was in the paper. It was in the, what was it, in the Gazette? And it was in.
Well, we mailed the entire district, actually.
I understand that. I get those mailings.
You write for the Gazette?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know it's in there. So I know it's been out there. So there's no.
And it's always on the website.
Yes, and it's always on the website,
So you don't
which
have
is
to
not
be
social
on-
media.
you don't have to be on social media to go to the
That's
website.
computer usage, not social media. So if you're not computer literate, it's still been in print. It's
I
in
wouldn't
print
say I'm
and
not.
paper, so
I choose not to be.
Well, then if, the same
For
with
many
this
reasons.
question, then there's like, you choose to be ignorant of what's going on. That's what, you choose not to look for the information.
All right.
Okay? Thank you.
Again,
Have a nice night.
Thank you.
Just, I want to clarify too, and Mr. Schuler, I'm looking at you. We have not, and I would hope we don't, take down the issue 4 information from the website. Okay, so all of the information, again, not social media, but on our website, because those, especially those OFCC reports, those are very valuable. It walks you through point by point how they came up with how much money it would cost. And again, we looked at this during the campaign. 2018 costs or 2017 costs, we were at $102 million to renovate Valley Forge in Normandy from 2017 costs. And again, that's not getting anything, 21st century. I mean, that's bricks and mortar. That's making sure you've got some, Ethernet that can actually not hang out in the hallway like we do at Parma Senior High.
Yeah, and just real quick, I know that because people had asked about renovate versus building new, and they were complaining about the bond, 4 mills and stuff like that. So Sean and I had talked one time, trying to kind of figure out exactly, okay, if you really were going to renovate, what would it cost? And we came up with somewhere, it was at least 10 mil PI levy is what would be needed in order for us to borrow enough money to remodel everything. So it was 4 mills plus another 2 mills on the, or whatever for the elementary schools, or 10 mil permanent improvement levy in order to borrow enough money to build everything. And, so.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that real fast, too, I just wanted to go back to number 4 for her. Why Parma High and not Normandy or somewhere else? We wanted to put the new building here on this property. So in order to do that, we needed a clean slate, and that was the whole purpose of that. Part of it was this is where we wanted to put a new building. Centrally located, smack dab in the middle of everywhere, north, south, east, west. It's right in the middle. So that's why that was selected. All right, so we'll move on now. Thank you, Pat, though. Thank you for everything. We don't need executive session. So I move to adopt Resolution 2023-05-248 to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2023-05-248. Any questions or comments from the board? No, roll call, Mr. Nucio, sorry.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Schwark.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.